A lot of people have been talking about how she hasn't been going and doing all these interviews and all this other stuff. She never went to the border. She's finally done that.
Which I was actually surprised when my mom got on Social Security. I didn't think she had to pay taxes on that. And then she told me she had to pay taxes on that. I said, you gotta pay taxes on that? You've already been paying taxes to get that money for all these years. And then when you get it, you gotta pay taxes on that.
Me personally, I don't even look at him as being patriotic for even spewing such rhetoric out his mouth. To cause a insurrection, when we swear in to defend the Constitution.
Yeah, it's called The Voter's Voice, and we actually started on this channel.
Welcome back to The Blackness. It's been a long time, a long time coming. We've been taking a little hiatus, but we are back, and we are back with a special guest, Mr. Justin. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well.
Word.
Happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. So we actually have a big announcement. The last month, really, we've been going out, me and Justin, and we've been filming some political videos, and we decided to make a channel. And can you tell us a little bit about that channel? Obviously, I can too, but...
Yeah, it's called The Voter's Voice, and we actually started on this channel, kind of going around interviewing people about the current state of, political affairs between the election, between Trump and Kamala. And they did pretty well, and so we started our own channel where we could focus on just that.
Just politics, because we want to respect the people who have been here for the podcast and keep that the podcast. Doesn't mean that we won't still do man on the street videos for this as well. But definitely go and check out The Voter's Voice. We've been going everywhere. We've gone to LA, we've gone to New York, we were in Philly. We've been doing a lot of different videos and just kind of I feel like we've gotten a real gauge on the voters. And we've been talking to people from all over, people from all different economical, backgrounds. So it's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been kind of scary at times. It's been it's been funny. So if you guys enjoy those kind of videos where, people are just going around on the street talking to people. I remember one video, it was actually the Philly video. We were going up and talking to these people, and there was this one guy who was just going off about how a man has to be in the office.
A woman cannot run the building.
A woman cannot run the building, and it was kind of crazy and kind of surprising.
You'd be surprised how many people think that way.
Yeah, I mean
that is one of the trends we have seen. Yeah,
and some people close to me, but I won't say no names. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, what do you think of that? What do you think of people saying that women can't really run the country? I mean, that to me is outrageous. But
I think it is, man.
I mean, it's 2024.
If a person is capable of holding a office, and if they do a good job, I think me personally, I don't see a problem with it. I think the problem comes in whether it be man or woman. If a person thinks with more emotion than logic, that's when we tend to get into trouble. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of specifically, I feel like I've seen some black men saying that. Which is
about a woman leading.
Yeah. And you saw Obama. We're going to talk about this later, but you saw Obama kind of touch on that a little bit too.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting. But we've been having conversations with all different types of people, and there was a woman right after we talked to that guy that we talked to, and she kind of was like, "Yo, we've had that for years. A man in office. It's time for a woman to come in." And change it. So
isn't that the campaign? We're not going back.
Yeah, we ain't going back. I
want to know what he think. How you think about a woman leading?
That's fine. Yeah.
You cool with it?
Yeah. I don't think those things matter. It was surprising. That was one of the trends we saw. I think that's the most interesting thing about the new channel and just going all over the country and talking to people is you really start to see the trends that, people talk about, on the cable news channels, and you don't really know if they're true or not. You see the polls that, black support is going up for Trump. Well, we kind of saw that. We saw other trends as well with homeless, with immigration. Many people we talked about immigration being a big problem. That was another trend we saw. And then going back to the woman thing, that was another kind of surprising trend we saw.
Right.
And I think there'll always be a small subset of people who think a woman can never lead the country, just like there's always going to be a small subset of people who think a black person can never lead the country, and all these different kind of, socioeconomic or demographic things, certain people can't lead. I don't think the majority of the country, though, I don't think those people are enough to stop, a woman from becoming president, If they're a great candidate, I think they will win, And just like, there's back in 2008, I'm sure there were, a subset of people who, thought, a black person should not lead the country. But Obama had a great campaign, and because of that, he won the presidency twice. So I think it's the same thing when it comes to a woman leading the country. But that was one of the surprising trends that we saw throughout the country.
Being in 2024, you would think, right? People have elevated and evolved from that type of what women would call that male chauvinistic behavior. You know what I mean? You would think people would evolve from that, but I guess not. But it's surprisingly, it's some women who think like that too.
Oh yeah, we actually talked to a woman, and she said, I think we talked to a couple women, and they said a woman couldn't lead the country.
Yeah.
Which was surprising as well.
In our Times Square video, which is up right now on the thing.
What were their reason for why they think a woman can lead?
I think a lot of them had different reasons, but a lot of people were talking about the emotional thing.
Yeah, the emotional thing. And I know that's what it is. It's the emotions.
Yeah. To me, that's crazy in 2024.
Yeah,
that's like really crazy. But in the Times Square video, I think we talked to one woman who was talking about that.
I'll tell you, when Hillary ran against Obama, and she wasn't losing far behind. She had some states, As a matter of fact, when I worked with the government at that time at Department of State, there were even some women, black women too, saying that, oh no, we voting for Hillary. Trust me, Hillary gonna win. Wait till electoral votes, and they were adamant. When Hillary did that one campaign, I think she might have. I don't know what happened in the polls when she cried and let her guard down. That's when it was like, then she looked weak. They thought she looked weak. Just something as small as that. You know what I mean?
There was a lot wrong with Hillary's campaign.
You talking about I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know what you mean.
Obama, not Trump's campaign. Okay. But in that, when she ran against Obama, that's when she cried. You know what I'm saying? And just the smallest thing can deter your campaign. Yeah. What's the governor of was it New Jersey? Doug Christie?
Oh yeah,
when
that was
no, that was him. That was who that was
Nader.
That was Nader. That was Nader.
I think.
Just for going yeah.
And
this and that.
And what's funny is that's like one of the most infamous moments in politics history. And will always be there.
And they kept any little joke. Yeah, they use it as a soundbite. And that hurt his campaign. Something as simple as that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think the only one that has, hasn't had anything, derail his campaign is Trump. Really.
Yeah.
I mean,
he does a
lot of stuff.
Teflon Don.
Yeah, he's Teflon Don.
Yeah,
literally.
for real.
Yeah,
for real.
He is.
So, but yeah, we went to all different types of cities. We did like several states.
Dude, I knew you was going out. I didn't know y'all was like you was going all out. Like
we went. Yeah, we
went.
So
that's why you was hopping on flights on the low and not saying that.
Yeah.
Well, it was all very last minute.
It was all last minute. Yeah,
Dang,
for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of it, like we probably wasted some money because we were just like, oh yeah, let's go here, and like. The night before, literally, like less than maybe 10 hours before we had to hop on a flight or start driving.
All carry-on bags, just carry-on bags.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
We should've-
skip the checkout.
I got caught once.
Some bad hotels
Yeah, they
because we booked them late.
We went to one hotel that was like atrocious.
You didn't
my
hop
gosh.
on
I
Spirit?
felt really.
Yeah, you use Spirit?
We did Spirit once, yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Whichever
that's
one's
insane.
available. That's the one we do. And then the cheapest. So.
Yeah, hey, y'all wasting money and I'm trying to make money. Dang.
Yeah.
And we
That's
also
what's
went to
up,
some
man.
swing states too, like Georgia, Pennsylvania,
Yeah. North Carolina.
we're out North Carolina.
A lot of people we talked to in the Virginia video think that it's gonna swing.
Oh, really?
Like a lot of people feel like it's gonna go for
Swing
the other
red?
candidate,
Oh,
but
blue.
like
I think it's blue.
yeah,
Blue?
it's probably gonna go blue. Virginia, even though in years past it might have gone for other
Red.
candidates, but yeah, it's probably gonna go blue.
Because
But-
Georgia is back red again now, right? Or is it
Well,
still
we don't know.
Georgia's
Not sure.
looking pretty good for Trump in the polls.
Yeah, the
That's
polls
what
are
I thought,
tight.
kinda.
I mean, that's the thing about the race right now.
Yeah, it's
Everything
very
is
tight.
so tight. We don't really know what's going to go on. We don't even know if these polls. A lot of people don't even believe in the polls.
Yeah, this-
a lot of people
yeah.
are.
This,
You know-
sometimes you can't really factor the poll. It's just a gauge,
Yeah.
but it's not solidified.
I was listening to this one pollster, and he said that they tried out a new technique
Mhm.
in the polls, and it gives them a more accurate reference. And they did this in 2022, and they were saying that was the most accurate reading that they've ever had. And they're starting to use that same polling for these polls. And so, like, are the polls real? Are the polls? Because right now, the way that the polling is going is looking like, Trump is starting to take the lead. And so I know that has a lot of the Democrats kind of scrambling and feeling like, oh my goodness, like, Kamala could lose this, and so like that's what's been happening, and that's kind of why today, like, they're going full out. Like right now, I have a clip that I can play, where Kamala is kind of going in on the whole, Hitler thing. Okay. She's literally, saying that, Trump is that. And we were supposed to be chilling out from that, right? We were supposed to be stopping that rhetoric, but they're going full out because I think that the whole, at the beginning of the campaign, Kamala was, starting to take the lead, and she was starting to, take it over because she was selling this joyful, happy, go lucky type thing, a change from Trump or Biden. And now it seems like because, her policies kind of came in late. But, obviously we need to give her a little bit of leeway because you can't just start a campaign, 3 months before. It's tough to do that and have policies ready to go. And so, like, it took her a while to bring in the policies. It took her a while to really, get locked down on an actual stance of, like, this is what I am for. Like, a lot of people are still trying to stamp her down on what she's really about. And so now that's kind of dissipating that whole, like, first run of, like, I'm joyful, like, this is a change, it's going to be a party, it's going to be good vibes, it's going to be fun. And so now it's turning into, we have to attack Trump. And so I think that's where the campaign is kind of going, which is interesting.
It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans. Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged and unstable. And in a second term, those who once tried to stop him from pursuing his worst impulses would no longer be there, and no longer be there to rein him in. It is deep.
So, and she's talking about how, I think his name is General Milley, how he came out and made some comments about how Trump was saying that the fallen soldiers were suckers and losers, coming back to that. And he's kind of doubled down on that recently and said that, like, this is really what happened. And so that's what she's kind of alluding to.
Well, I just think it's so 2016, and I think it shows desperation by the campaign because it's looking like they know they're losing, and they got to kind of go back to the old faithful way of doing this, which is to kind of target Trump. And like you were saying, you know, she was this joy candidate, a new way forward, and it's looking like we're going back to the same old playbook, and I don't think it's going to work. And I think it really shows, you know, desperation on their part. And really, if you look, I mean, the whole joy is almost flipped. It's looking like Trump is like the joyful candidate now, and she's like the bitter, angry candidate. He's over there smiling, serving people McDonald's. He's doing all kinds of stuff, dancing on stage. You know, it's almost like it's flipped in this last week. But the whole Hitler thing is just, it just doesn't work anymore. You know, the same people that think Trump is, you know, Hitler, they're going to keep on thinking that. But for the middle of America, they'll decide the election. It's just not going to work because, let's be honest, I mean, as much as you may disagree or don't like Trump, I mean, to compare the man to Hitler is just laughable to me. I mean, a man who killed, genocided 6 million people, and we're going to compare, you know, Trump to that. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. And all this talk of toning down the rhetoric, you know, which, you know, Trump definitely has harsh rhetoric as well, so both sides are definitely guilty. But I definitely think there is no greater divisive rhetoric than comparing your political opponent to Hitler, who genocided 6 million people. But you know, I think a lot's changed in 8 years, and while that may have been something that people kind of believed 8 years ago, I think after 8 years it's kind of a tired kind of thing, and I just don't really think people are going to go for it.
So you don't think that it's going to have any effect on what's happening
I
right
think
now?
it's people are so desensitized to this whole Trump is Hitler talking point that like it does nothing. Like you heard Trump is Hitler today, and what reaction did you have to it? Nothing, probably.
Yeah. What do you think, Hendricks?
I think she's using the same tactics that he's using, with the negative, you know, to paint him negative.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, like you said, her campaign wasn't like that, but his campaign, he runs off a fear tactic campaign. You know, just in Detroit alone, you know, your whole state going to be like Detroit. He runs off of fear. So I think she used that same tactic, even though a lot of what Trump says is not based on no fact or anything like that. But then again, against his base, facts don't even matter. So you can say whatever, you know. I mean, that's just the truth. Facts don't matter. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if she says she compared him to Hitler, that don't matter to his base. His base is not going to, you know, they're not going to turn on him. The people who are not voting for him, you don't need to convince them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, what about the person in the middle? And I'm after I ask this real quick, I'm gonna give my spiel on this because you said that it won't for his base, but what about the people in the middle? Because that's
the undecided?
His base is gonna the undecideds. His base is gonna be the base. The same thing with Kamala. Her base is gonna be the base. You know, the Democrats. Yeah. But what what about the person who's still deciding?
That's the purpose of the Hitler statement, to convince the ones in the middle.
Yeah.
The ones who are left, you don't need to convince them. The ones who fall right, and now you can even say not even far right, you can just say Trumpers. Yeah. Because you have some right people who say that you have Trump supporters and you have Republicans.
Now you're also a veteran.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the comments, you know, from this general, you know, and I hope I'm saying the right general, him saying that Trump called them suckers and losers, basically. Well, and that, you know, Trump was kind of saying some things that were Hitler-esque.
Well,
he said fascism.
It's just laughable.
Fascism,
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, well, Trump has said that before. I think it was Senator McCain who died.
Right.
He said, "Oh, I like the guys who didn't get caught." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So he said that before. Me being a veteran, I've served with people who got killed in combat. You know, I got some friends who are not here to this day, and for him to say something like that, I think is very callous. Me personally, I don't even look at him as being patriotic for even spewing such rhetoric out his mouth. To me, to cause a insurrection, when we swear in to defend the Constitution, to protect y'all rights, so y'all got the freedoms. And when his lawyer said that, he didn't swear in to protect the Constitution, the president, you are the commander in chief. Every time we do motor staples, it goes up to the president to know that everybody's accountable for. To me, in the street terminology, I think that's pretty much a sucker. I'll tell him that to his face. That's a sucker move. When you got friends who actually died in combat, and I don't look at him as patriotic at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at that as being patriotic. I'm like, it's just not, man. That's like treason. That's like treason.
Well, that suckers and losers story has been debunked. I mean, even John Bolton, who hates Trump, has said that was never real. But going back to so I think that's just another tired kind of thing. But going back to the, independence and the Hitler comments, like, yeah, both sides, they're going to think what they think. But like I was saying, like, to the true independents, I don't think the Hitler thing is gonna make a difference. Okay. Because I don't think the independents are really going for that this time around.
Here's my thoughts on this whole thing. Listen, we were supposed to stop the rhetoric, right? Mm-hmm. Both sides needed to stop the rhetoric. But at the same time, that is like her best argument right now because, the economy isn't the best under her and Joe Biden, right? Trump is saying a lot of the things and almost sounding like a liberal with some of the things he's proposing, and so like that kind of, takes away some of the steam that she might have had, right? With some of her policies that she's now come out with. I've looked at them. We read them last time we were here. You actually said that you're coming out and you're saying that you're going to vote for Kamala. I'm still not going to say who I'm voting for online. But what I will say is this is Kamala jumping into the game. This is the moment where it's like, welcome to the fucking show. Because you've been fucking chilling, hanging out. Oh, yeah, it's all happy-go-lucky. Woo, we're having fun. It's good vibes and all this other stuff. It's like, no, you have to fight. And so for the first time, I see Kamala fighting. A lot of people have been talking about how she hasn't been going and doing all these interviews and all this other stuff. She never went to the border. Oh my goodness, she's finally done that, okay? She's going out. She's doing these hard interviews. And I mean, listen, she just did an interview with NBC. And a lot of people might say, okay, that's not a hard interview. But that woman was really, kind of tying her down saying, hey, tell me what you really are about. And so to me, this is Kamala jumping into the game. This is her actually starting to fight. Yes, it's a little bit different from what she was doing before, but that thing's not working. This joyful thing, I can't vote on joy, okay? I cannot vote on happy and good vibes. Listen, if everything was great, if the economy was amazing, if gas prices weren't ridiculous, if inflation wasn't crazy, I could vote on vibes. But I cannot vote on vibes. And so for me, this is her jumping in the game and saying, okay, I got to do something. And I actually like what she's doing. Even though I think that the Hitler stuff has got to stop. I think she's been listening to Hillary Clinton too much because, Hillary Clinton's been talking this kind of way. And I don't want her to turn into Hillary Clinton because what happened to Hillary Clinton? She lost. Okay, so maybe she needs to turn this stuff down a little bit. But for the first time, I feel like she's fighting. And we got to give her a little bit of credit there because, for a lot of people, they feel desperate. They feel this desperation of like, okay, this is one of the most important. We say it every time, right? But this one right now is one of the most important elections. And so, like, I think for a lot of people, I mean, you see the numbers of people coming out and voting in droves and stuff like that. And so, I think it's just her getting in the game. And I think that, for the first time, we're seeing somebody who's trying to fight and is not just trying to rely on good vibes and sitting back and just letting it be. And, oh, yeah, they're going to vote for me no matter what because, I'm this, I'm that, So, yeah. Anyways.
You think she took the gloves off?
I don't think someone who takes a day off yesterday, 14 days before an election, is really fighting that hard. Just saying.
Listen, I mean, I can understand. I can understand.
But yeah, she's taking some interviews.
She's taking some interviews. She did a whole press circuit. Like she went on all kinds of stuff, and maybe only 2 or 3 of those were like tough interviews. But I mean, most of the ones that Trump does is 2 or 3, here and there. But he does a lot of fluff ones too. Yeah. Maybe they might be a little bit independent. I mean, we'll see how this Joe Rogan interview goes, which, is supposed to be happening.
With who? With Trump?
I think I heard it's coming on Friday.
With Trump?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're filming on Friday or something like that.
And so, and Kamala's in talks to come on to Joe Rogan as well.
Okay.
So
she
we'll see what happens.
That,
Yeah.
I think.
She denied
Did she deny it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That and the All In podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting. We're getting closer. I think you have to fight. It's too close. It's too close. It's 50-50 in some of these states. There's only 1 point difference in some of these states. There's only, you have to do something. And I think for the first time, she's actually doing something. So I give her a little bit of credit there.
Yeah, they got to get muddy. They going in the swing states, definitely. They definitely pandering to the swing states.
She's doing a lot of rallies, too, so,
Yeah, she's doing rallies.
Give him some credit,
She have to. If she don't, she'll lose. I mean, she have to. Yeah.
Trump should actually do less rallies. So,
I think he
gets in trouble.
He says too much crazy
Opens
stuff.
his
They need
mouth.
to take the mic away from that man.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That man be getting up there saying whatever. I'm like...
Man.
He shouldn't have any rallies past 7 o'clock.
If the judge can't give you a gag order, you don't obey a gag order. Come on, he's not gonna.
Yeah, he should follow Kamala's playbook and just read from the teleprompter.
Yeah, Somebody who's been out in the rallies and been doing a lot is Obama.
Yeah.
Okay, and Obama a couple of weeks ago got in trouble. A little bit. I felt like a lot of black men. I saw Stephen A. come out and say something. Who we know he's voting for Kamala, but he came out and was against it. I saw a number of black men who weren't for it, but he basically came out and people called it condemning black men in a way because of
nobody's surprised about Stephen A. Smith.
What is
you
that?
don't like him?
No, I mean I have a problem with a lot of people don't care for Stephen A. Stephen A. knows that too. Regardless, a lot of guys don't. I know plenty of guys say they don't. I mean, I don't have a problem with Stephen A. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, let's not get on to Stephen A. But
no, I'm not getting on.
Let's talk about Obama. What did you think of Obama's comments, basically saying that it's unacceptable for black men to not be supporting Kamala right now?
I think he spoke how he felt. I tell you what, I would have loved to hear some of that Obama when he was in office, when they was disrespecting him, when he had all those addressing State of the Union. I would have loved to hear that. You know what I mean? That same vigor.
We got the cool, calm, and
collected.
Yeah,
exactly.
Obama.
We got the politician. This guy here is a private civilian. So yeah, I would have loved to see some of that Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but what did you think? Did you think he's right? Do you think that he should have said that to black men?
Well,
as a black man, how did that make you feel?
Well, honestly, I didn't feel any way. I mean, he felt it had to be addressed. But see, the thing is, once again, back to polls and statistics, right? Mm-hmm. Even 80% of black men vote Democrat. 85% of black women vote Democrat, right? So you still have majority of black men. You may have maybe that 15% who vote Republican, but it's still majority of black men. I guess they probably wanted to get ahead of it to not see this, like he said, trend take off and snowball, Because you're going to have some people, regardless of race, some Hispanics, some black, white, whatever, Some of them they just going to vote Republican. And I know some black people who vote Republican, and that's their preference. And they tell me why, and I understand it. When I had rental property, I was in a gray area. Like I was working with some Indian guys, and they would say to me in their voice, I ain't gonna use that. I ain't gonna do the accent.
Don't get in trouble, man. Don't get us kicked off the air.
They would say, instead of, they would try to pronounce my name, instead of saying Kanadi, I knew you were a Republican. I knew you were a Republican. I knew you. And I would say, yeah, kinda, but I was in a gray area. Reason being, in the sense of, yes, I like 15% tax on my capital gain, right? But at the same time, I had tenants on Section 8. That's a Democratic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was in a gray area, you feel me? So I can say, yeah, I was a Republican, and I can say, yeah, I was on the Democrat side, right? But social programs, and people think Republicans don't push social program. They do push some social program. They don't push a lot. Because the majority of the people on SNAP, or what we call WIC, or food stamps, are Caucasian people. Is they have more numbers than us, more of them in the heartland. That's what food stamps was made for them, for the heartland, because they needed some type of benefit, because they said, look, we feed America, what benefits we get? So that's what food stamps was originally made for white people. But just so happened you have impoverished blacks, so it had to trickle over to the rest, right? So Republicans are for some social program, they just don't want you to, which I agree. We don't, and then I say we like I'm Republican.
Oh, dang.
I want to kill you. But I'm just saying.
He's being converted by
they
you.
don't want you to. They don't want you to live off of it, if that make any sense, right? If I'm making any sense, right? Don't want you to abuse the system, right?
Okay.
But yeah, so I was sort of in that gray area, is what I'm saying. I done forgot my whole damn point.
Obama.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Obama.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
No, that was good, though.
But no, I mean, I guess if he felt that's what needed to be said, that's what needed to be said. I think it's just like, maybe that, yeah, thank you, man. The trend he was saying earlier, they didn't want it to get a steam and turn into a big snowball. Because a lot of people in America, a lot of us will not read. We'll only look at the headline, and then what the rest of the people are doing, we may do. You know what I'm saying? We go along to get along. Not everybody wants to. They don't want to take the narrow gate. They want to go through the wide gate and what everybody else is doing. So maybe I think maybe they just want to get ahead of it. So to let people think, if you're going to vote Republican, do it because it suits your interests. If you vote Democrat, do it because you suits your interests, regardless of whatever race, religion you are. And that's you just have to respect that.
Yeah, I feel that. All right.
I think,
go ahead.
you go.
No.
You go.
No,
You.
Yeah, what? What'd you think of Obama's comments?
I think that was one of those moments that,
Check your TV?
he didn't know was being recorded, kind of, or
Okay.
didn't think would go viral, you know? So it's just kind of something he said off the cuff, I think, but
Everybody took it and ran with it.
Yeah, it was
That's
just
a good
one of
point.
those moments, that, I think it happens to everyone, but that was that moment. And, I think black people who are not going to vote Democrat, I think that just kind of made them dig their heels in more and be more
Republican.
convicted, in their decision to go the other way.
Yeah.
But, I was just going to kind of speak to, like, the, you hear about that in the polls. You don't really know if it's true. You see a lot of videos of man on the street, but you don't know if it's true. But I can say from our experience,
We saw
being
it.
on man on the street, I can confidently say, and I would put money on this, that this will be the most black people to ever vote for a Republican candidate in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Not in history, but in our lifetimes.
You may be right.
There was a certain
You may
point.
be right. You may be right.
There was a certain point where, like, we were walking around. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
But we were walking around, and you're live casting basically when you're doing these.
Yep.
You're like looking for people, and you're like, okay, that person might be good. That person might be good. And, we always try to balance the videos out. We try to be like, okay, we just found a Kamala person. Hopefully we get a Trump person next time. Like, and it got to a point where, like, if we wanted to find a Trump person, we had to go up to a black man.
That's literally the trajectory of the trip. That's where it kind of ended up. Because, like you were saying, Kanata, at the end of the day, 80% of blacks are still going to vote Democrat in this election cycle. It's just that, these elections come down to so few votes that just Trump gaining double the percentage of the black vote since 2016 is such a huge deal. When you count down that these swing states only come down to a few thousand votes or 10,000 votes.
Yeah, because it used to be 90.
Be a big deal.
It used to be like 92%.
Right, and now it's like down to like 80% or something like that. So that can be a big deal in terms of swinging an election. And Hispanics are the same way as well. The Hispanic is going up and up for Trump. But it got to the point where we would be surprised at first, and then by the end we were like, we go up to the
I think it was warranted. So it was warranted when you say that Obama come out and say that, right? Because I think it was the truth. He probably sees the trend as well.
Yeah,
so
they all do, and they all have even better internal polling than what the public sees.
Exactly.
And so they're seeing the reality that they're really losing their grip on that. And it could be potentially disastrous to her victory.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys.
Go ahead.
Since you guys were on the grounds, with the black men y'all saying y'all find it was supporting Trump, what was the reason? Finance, the money?
That was the big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Immigration was another big one.
Okay, yeah. Because I noticed nowadays. Because if you think about, at one time, the vast majority of black people didn't have wealth like that, right? So with these generations coming in, some families are now seeing their first generation millionaires. Of course, it wasn't like that for his people, right? So now they're like, okay, I want to hang on to my money, So I think, and not necessarily even millionaires, some of them may be hitting the 1%. Certain cities in Atlanta, or in like Potomac, up in D.C., Virginia area, what they call the DMV, up in that area. Some of these are they coming into some form of wealth, So I think that's what I'm thinking. Like a lot of them are voting with their wallet per se.
I mean, we talked to all types of people. We talked to people who were definitely well off, but we also talked to people who were just in the street. I mean, we talked to. I mean, I remember the guy in Richmond. I mean, he didn't have a lot of money. I don't know if you remember him.
His reasons was
but
the
he
border.
He was saying a lot of different things of why he was voting for Trump. So, I mean, it was interesting to see. That doesn't mean that we saw only black men. Yeah. We had I think about the guy that we just had in the New Yorker's video. He was an older gentleman, which is on par for the demographic, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure he was 50. They're saying that men under 50 aren't voting for Kamala, but he was definitely a Kamala person, and he said, damn well, he said, damn well I ain't voting for Trump, and talked about how Trump is a dictator. So, it was interesting to get out and talk to these people because you're really seeing it for real. Yeah. There is throw out all of the stuff that people tell you, it was, we saw it with our own two eyes. And so, yeah, it was interesting.
That same video, we had two black construction workers in New York and, the immigration was the big thing and money.
Yeah, that and money.
So it was an interesting contrast. To see that they were young too. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's very real, and I think, like I said, it'll be the most I've ever voted Republican, and it could cost Kamala the election overall.
Yeah, it's close. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Hell, I thought Hillary was going to win. Thought she had it in the bag.
Oh yeah.
But obviously.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did, and so a lot of people didn't get out and vote. Because they thought that Hillary was going to take it, and they thought she was going to take it handily.
Once again, because of the polls.
Of the polls.
And
so, I mean, we shouldn't really trust the polls, even though they're saying that they're getting it more accurate, ultimately you have to get out and vote. So,
Are you guys gonna vote early? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna early
I'm
vote.
gonna try to do it too.
Yeah. I actually was gonna vote early the other day, and then I saw that line. I was like,
I think
I ain't getting
I think
into
it'll
that.
chill out a little bit. I think everyone went right when it started.
Right.
So.
I hope so. I hope it chills out because I ain't trying to stand in the long line like it's election day.
And you know they got that law. Nobody can give you nothing to drink or something like that.
Oh yeah,
that was
crazy. That was one of the new laws that they implemented. So
can't give you no food, no drink.
So make sure when you get out to the polls, you got hydration. You're hydrated. You're fed.
And
go right after.
And you can't have no signs about who you're voting for, and they don't want you to have none of that.
Make sure you get some McDonald's right before. I'm just kidding.
So Kanante, don't wear your MAGA hat to the polls, okay?
I can't do a MAGA hat. I can't. I'm gonna just put a Band-Aid on my ear.
Yeah. So that's your subtlety.
Yeah, it's a little nod. What did y'all think of Trump at McDonald's? Him serving food at McDonald's. A lot of people are saying it's staged, but it was interesting to see that image, of him doing that.
I think it is, man. Because didn't he mock Kamala because she said she worked at McDonald's?
That was really why he did it.
Yeah, I think that's why he did it. And then plus, you got to realize Trump never worked a job in his life, so a manual labor job in his life. So
he was saying, I always wanted to work at McDonald's.
It's his favorite kind of food.
It's his favorite food. He did a commercial years ago, so I think that's why. But
I think his ultimate troll, Donald Trump trolling, like what he's best at, honestly. That's a little 2016 move, It's like he's trolling her because they can't find a record of her ever working at McDonald's, and she said she did. And who knows if she did or not, but just the fact they went there kind of trolled her, and then, just the imagery from it. It's retail politics 101. It's been done before. It's not reinventing the wheel, but I thought that was a pretty brilliant strategy on his campaign's part to go do that. And even it's a W for Trump when you got Democrats on CNN saying it was a good move, And the thing is, Kamala could have done that, but she just seems like she's late to almost everything. It just always feels like Trump is almost one step ahead of her. I think that was a good move.
Because Trump runs his campaign. I don't think Kamala runs her campaign.
She's probably got a lot of people in her ear.
She got campaign advisors. Yeah, I think Trump runs his campaign.
And it seems like a lot of them have been wrong. I mean, on a lot of things.
Right.
The beginning strategy was good, but it's like you can't stay there.
Right.
If you stay safe and stagnant, that's why I give her credit on what she's doing right now. Because, I feel like this is a little unsafe. It's a little like, oh, wow, she's going there. You know what I mean? So, I think they stayed too stagnant, and they can still have a moment. I don't know what that moment is, but, they could still have some moments of, that go viral and stuff.
I don't know, man. Sometimes, like when Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high, sometimes you got to go low with them. Trump is a person you got to get down low with him,
and that's what it sounds like.
You got to get if he wants you
she's
to
fighting.
The flow, you got to get down on the floor with him, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And apparently it working for him. I don't know. I'm not saying it necessarily going to work for her, but people will understand because you're not going against a regular, a career politician. You're going against the apprentice. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I think also what we have to be honest about here is that the Democratic Party is not the old Democratic Party anymore.
And they can't be.
We have Dick Cheney coming out endorsing Kamala. Yes. Like, guys, what is going on? And we're supposed to be happy about that? I'm like, bro, if you're a Democrat Cheney from back in the day, he was like the enemy. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, it's interesting. But not only that, just some of the things that they've done the last few years. I think about how they called the Iraq War, the ending of it, a success. Where a lot of, I think there was 13 that were killed of our own, and so stuff like that. some of the things that they've done, man, it's just, it doesn't feel like the same old Democratic Party with us doing all these wars, us, just signing on to some of the things. And I say us because I think I used to be very much like a Democrat. But to me, like, the Democratic Party now feels like the party of the elites. It feels like the party of, wealth and money and, all success. And so, when I hear like Obama talk about how like, black men, this is unacceptable, but it's like a lot of these people, a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these, folks who are coming out for Kamala, they already have theirs. They don't have anything to really worry about. There's a lot of people who, have to get up every single morning and go to work and have to pay for gas and have to pay for the expensive food. And, maybe they don't like Trump and his rhetoric. But, a lot of them are considering him because, under his presidency, all these things weren't so high. And they weren't like lying to you. They weren't saying, oh, everything's great when everything's not. I hear so much about how inflation is back to normal. It's like, tell that to my bank account, bro. Like, come on. Like, who are you trying to fool here with this? But a lot of people are being fooled by it, And so, like, I think Kamala needs to clearly come out and say, yo, I'm going to be different than Biden. And she has to a little bit go after Biden and some of his policies. She has to show a clear difference if she's going to come back and win this. And again, it's a fight, but she has to come out and make a clear distinction of this is where I am going forward and this is where I'm at. What we've had the last 4 years, listen, everybody acknowledges that, like, the pandemic was tough, but like she has to make that distinction of like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's two things. One thing you said falls with Dick Cheney. We all know about Dick Cheney, and you said how some people had died or whatever. But see, that's the thing. You guys never been in the military. And in the military, they will sacrifice some for trust me. We done did things where we breach minefields. And you send, if he's an E2, Justin, get out there. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. No emotions aside, that's just what it is. And that's just a military thing, regardless Republican or Democrat, it's whoever's in charge. That's just straight military tactics. We gonna sacrifice some for everybody, so everybody can eat, right? That and on that part. And then the thing about what the inflation, I heard they say that some of the interest rates are going down. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. Not everybody really feeling it, right? In their pockets. I truly understand that. But under Biden's, what I didn't like, and you gotta understand, Kamala is just the vice president. She don't got pull like that. So really, this is under Biden's giving all that money overseas, right? You gotta recoup that some kind of way. So we the one who gonna suffer for that. That's why the interest rate's gonna be like that,
Yeah,
I wish she said something about stop giving them money.
I just feel like the Democratic Party has become the party of privilege. It's easy for you to say, yeah, I'm going to vote Democrat and I'm going to vote on joy and I'm going to vote on vibes. When you don't got much, to have to,
I vote on the policy.
You're not really, if you're not out, doing stuff, like you're not working and stuff like that, like, it's easy to vote on that. Like I see a lot of like college students, they all say Kamala. Well, their parents are probably paying stuff for them, like, let's be honest, I mean, like, when I see like, a lot of older Americans, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely voting for Kamala. And it's like, well, you've kind of already made your money. Like, so it's easy to say that because you kind of are already made. But what about the people who are struggling? What about the people who are there every single day? And I think a lot of those people are the undecideds.
But that's when you look at policy. Okay, what are Trump's policy on building the economy? And I know he talked about the border. I agree with him on that. You can come but do it the legal way, right? Of course, a lot of things are not true, whereas he's saying that FEMA, oh yeah, they taking all your money, giving. Even the director of FEMA came out and said that, right? That's not true. How I know? I'm an employee of Homeland Security right now. So I work for FEMA. So they just hired me on, right, as an agent. So that's not true. That's not true, right? So reason why you vote for policy, one of the Kamala policies was she had to come out and put something in place for black men, or just for people in general. Like if this guy, you own a home?
No.
So first time home buyers, don't matter what, they ain't about race, this brother here can get a home, get credit for his home, right? He start a business, he get credit for that. Not to mention, she even has something about the cannabis. They were saying, but well, if you can give, if y'all don't want to give black people reparations, let us get into the cannabis business. She even has that in her policy. Mm-hmm. What does he have in his policy to help you put money in your pocket? What is it?
He's got tons of policies.
Okay, please tell me something.
Tell us some of the policies. And we'll do this for another 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, and then go ahead. You got it. Tell me what's some of his policies.
Well, no tax on tips, which then Kamala came out with that. Mm-hmm. No tax on Social Security. So, which I was actually surprised when my mom got on Social Security. I didn't think she had to pay taxes on that. And then she told me she had to pay taxes on it. I said, you got to pay taxes on that? You've already been paying taxes to get that money for all these years. And then when you get it, you got to pay taxes on that. So Trump says no tax on that, no tax on tips. He also just came out and said that the interest rates you'll pay, your car payment, the interest on your car payment will be tax deductible. And many other things. I mean, they're all things that are very tangible. But we actually talked to in our millionaire video where we went into Beverly Hills and asked millionaires who they were voting for. There was a real estate guy, and I asked him about the $25,000 credit for home buyers that Kamala proposed, and I asked him what he thought about that, and he said that it will never work. All that's going to basically happen is the prices of the homes are going to go up $25,000.
I heard that too.
So, it could happen. But she's got the business tax policies. Yeah. That's not too bad. And the cannabis, I think weed should be totally legalized.
I agree. I'd love to get in that business, by the way.
But going back to what you were saying, though, I feel like the parties have kind of switched. Like the Democrat Party now is what the old Republican Party used to be. And Trump kind of sounds like a liberal now. I mean, even Trump was talking about legalizing marijuana, flirting with the idea. And Trump is kind of the party of no wars. One of his main things is ending the wars. And the Democrats came in and started so many wars. I've never seen so many wars started in such a short period of time.
I know.
And they were kind of praising Biden for getting out of the war. Well, he got us right out of that war and got us into like 3 new wars. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I just think about all the people. I'll just be honest, like foreign policy is number one thing I vote on a president for. And when I look at the Democrat Party, I just think about how many people have died because Joe Biden has been president. When you think about the Ukrainians, they're dead. The Russians, they're dead. Our own soldiers from Afghanistan, and even in that same bombing, like hundreds of Afghans died as well.
Yeah.
And so many more over there perished. We left American soldiers over there. I just think about all the deaths, and it's like, and then that ties into Dick Cheney. It's like the Democrats can have the Dick Cheney endorsement, and the fact that they're celebrating that's kind of like
it's a little scary.
It kind of shows you how much the party has kind of changed over the last.
Well, you got
I noticed most of the people that we talked to, right? Mm-hmm. They looked like they were well off, or they were older, or they
if they already own their home.
Yeah, they already own homes.
You already had your retirement accounts already flush.
They're already
from
good
working,
to go. Yeah. 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Shit, man, damn, you done threw me off.
Sorry.
Wait. You got. You see a few Republicans come out endorsing Kamala. I was like, damn, dude, what's up with that? I think they think that Trump might be bad for their party. He's like. Yeah, it's becoming his party, not the Republican Party. I think that's what they.
I think what we're seeing is a restructuring, because you see Tulsi and RFK come up for Trump too. I think we're just witnessing a restructuring of the parties, and that's why you're seeing Republicans go to the Democrat side and Democrats go to the Republican side.
And we had this, when was that? The 50s or the 60s when it switched? Really, it switched under FDR. And so, I think it's just history repeating itself. But we got to move on. We're going to talk about Abercrombie and Fitch. Do you have that? Abercrombie and Fitch.
I don't have any literature on it, but the CEO from Abercrombie and Fitch, which actually he got caught before, so now he's under indictment for trafficking and something else. I can't remember what it was, but apparently what they were doing is they would hire young males, like handsome dudes like this guy here. I'm serious. And they would fly them out.
Yeah, it's not funny, but
do things. You see this?
I mean, I was laughing too.
But seriously, they would hire you. They want you to look young, and they would hire you, and then they would have you, try to allegedly lewd at how much you like your job, put you in all the elite parties, and they say a lot of guys would try to get the job because not knowing that you're going to be sexually exploited, being that say for example,
they thought they were going to be a model.
Exactly. Even though he wasn't trying to be a model, but it was a stepping stone for him.
Right.
And they would put you in their magazine ads, and you could say, "Yo, I'm published." Right. But you got to tickle the ivories too.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I heard that they were drugging them.
Oh dang!
Doing all kinds of stuff, making them do like essay acts and stuff like that. So it was kind of crazy. Yeah. Sounds a little like Diddy.
They were having their own freak off.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not funny. It's not.
Did they have baby oil? No, I'm just kidding.
So the CEO, it was like a casting couch kind of thing.
I guess it was like a thing where he would just lure them in.
Yeah, they would actually hire you, and they got in trouble for discriminating. Like take for example, let's say like your mom or your dad want a part time. They already want to. No, don't hire them. Then say you come in, they hire you, right? Then they wouldn't hire him. No, he's too big. Then I come in with a tight shirt on.
Damn.
They hire me. You know what I mean?
Were you there? No, I'm just kidding.
But that's what they were doing, the discriminatory acts. Okay. Like, we know who they want to hire, you know what I mean? Meaning guys that they feel that they would want to allude to essay, you know what I'm saying? So something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's crazy. That's kind of wild. All these big people are now getting taken down, and we see what they're really doing. The curtain is being,
the veil is falling.
Exactly.
Do y'all think, like, I heard someone said, like, seem like the higher you go up, the more money, in power, the more corrupt things are.
Well, listen, I mean, what am I trying to say? That industry is worth billions and billions of dollars. Who's involved? Why is, trafficking is like a big thing.
It's a big thing.
Like, it's $1 billion industry. So who is involved? Who's doing this? And it's not surprising to me that it's people with money.
Ups.
It's people with money.
Bro, it's not just the higher ups.
You don't think so?
I was in Miami.
Okay.
I was in Miami, and I was with a buddy of mine, and we came. He lived in a high rise, and me and another buddy, we were off. We was doing some AV work in Naples, so we went to Miami, and we chilled. So we came out of this building. It was two dudes with two Ferraris parked by each other. So my buddy who lived in the building, he know them dudes, right? But they Cubans. They look like me and you, but they English a little bit, but they Cubans, right? And so then he went and took pictures by their car. Then we hopped in and my other partner's car, and we left. So I was like, "Damn, what them dudes doing?" He's like, "Man, I'm gonna tell you, bro, them dudes trafficking women."
Wow,
that's what they're doing. They trafficking women, and they're not people who you won't think. It's not necessarily higher up just get away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Eventually, it take one person to tell, and then the snowball happens.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happened to Diddy. We're seeing all this stuff coming out with Diddy and all of, all these young victims. That's what's sad is that young victims were involved and stuff like that. I will say this because I know we got to go. But I did see when we were traveling in a lot of the airports, inside of the bathroom. No, it was just like these posters of are you being trafficked?
Yeah.
Call this number. I was like, whoa, what is going on here? I've never seen that. I've been in a ton of airports, sick, traveled all over the place. I've never seen that, but it was like taken aback for me,
Yep.
you know, to see that. So, anyways,
It's sad, man. Like young ladies got to be careful when they by themselves out
Yeah.
at night, going to their cars and or walking down the street. They got to be very careful. And
sure.
sometimes not even that. They catch young boys too.
yeah,
They do the same thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So they got to
Exactly.
be careful.
You're always surprised, you know, seeing sex rings being caught just in your own community. You know?
Yeah.
'Cause I see that quite a bit. You know, every once in a while you see a sex ring that was busted in Goose
Yeah.
Creek.
I'm like, dude, why would I invite
in the
him?
upstate, you know?
this guy.
But
next
yeah,
time, hey,
it's-
let's crash next time. Let's crash.
but yeah, it's out there and it's a big problem, and I
It's a
think
big problem.
you know it's such in the shadows that people don't really realize how rampant it is.
And it's good that all these people are being, you know, brought to justice, man.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen, and that's good that that's happening. So, yeah.
I think that's going to be the next big crack, like how they cleaning up Hollywood with the Me Too movement and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I think that sex trafficking thing is going to be the next big
that's the
thing
big
they
thing.
clean up.
Yeah. Allegedly Jay-Z. We'll see. I'm just kidding. Don't come after us. This is not a real program. All right. Well, that's been the Black Summit.
Yeah.
Once again, our new channel is called The Voter's Voice. We're going to be posting it in the link below here. And we'll also be posting up some of the videos and stuff like that. But y'all go and check them out. I know you're going to enjoy the Millionaires one. So,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I was once a thousandaire myself.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
Justin.
thanks for having me.
Once again, I'm Brooks,
And I'm Hendrix.
and we out.
Peace.
Peace.